Welcome back, good fellas, and we're back with another episode of Ask Tony Tuesday.
If you haven't got a clue, Tony's got the answer for you.
I wanted to let you guys know that we did put a YouTube channel up where you can go and watch the Ask Tony Tuesdays in order. No other posts in the way. You don't have to go back to look for any of the videos. They all have descriptions of what questions are asked in the video as well. So if you're looking for a specific question to be answered, you can just look through the videos and their descriptions and find exactly what answer you're looking for. We figured it would be a lot easier if people had sort of like a playlist of the Ask Tony Tuesday videos. So if you go on YouTube and you search Ask Tony Tuesday, it will pull up all of the videos that we have filmed so far, and we will continue to update it every time we do post a new video. So hopefully that's a little bit easier for you guys. I know especially since we do have it on Instagram and Facebook, a lot of the other posts clutter the Ask Tony Tuesdays, but we do have them on there and they are in order and they're numbered by episode as well.
Cool.
So just a little disclaimer.
Nice.
Back to the regular program.
Okay.
How are you today, Tony?
Awesome. You?
I am great.
Good.
Are you ready for your first question of the day?
I'm ready.
How do they determine the different levels of quartz?
Quartz. Quartz are all stone. Just quartz?
Just quartz.
Basically, it's the manufacturer. There's a lot of different manufacturers of quartz. The recipe for quartz is generally the same. For a good brand quartz, it's 85 to 93% quartz the mineral, which is very hard and dense. And then there's sand for filler, and then there's pigment for color, and there's a resin that bonds it all together. That's why it's not completely heat resistant, because the resin is what fails under heat. But it's extreme heat. Up to 400 degrees, you're good. 400 degrees over, then you start to worry about heat. What happens, though, is there's a lot of knockoff brand quartz products. So you have your name brands. You have your Silestone, you have your Cambria, you have your Caesar Stone. Those name brands are closer to that 93% quartz to mineral. And they have a lot more colors and range of colors. They look more like natural stone. Then you have the knockoff brands. And then what happens is that 85 to 93% quartz to mineral, which is hard and dense, what happens is the quartz to sand ratio goes like this. So that product that you thought you were getting that was non-porous, and going to be completely maintenance free, all of a sudden it's not. Because it's like the old adage says, you get what you pay for. You think you're getting a great deal on a quartz, but it's not what you paid for, because you expected it to be that 85 to 93% quartz product, but it's not. So look for name brands, and just make sure it's a good quality quartz. We only bring in, whether it's natural stone or quartz, we only bring top quality stone in, our top quality quartz. So the deal with quartz, and quartz is pretty much, it all kind of works the same. Normally, it's the price of the material that we pay for determines what level it's in. When you deal with natural stone, it's not just the price of the stone, it's the price of the stone plus the workability. Something that has a lot of quartz in it, or maybe like there's rainforest green that has bait lightning bolt type veining, they tend to kind of come apart. So there's more involved in doing the fabrication. So it's not just the cost of stone, it's the time spent fabricating it as well that determines the level. Quartz is basically just the manufacturer. What we pay for it determines the price.
I never knew that before, and people always ask me.
That's basically what we pay for it determines the cost.
Ready for your second question of the day?
I am ready.
If you put materials outdoor, does the weather affect it?
Yes. And it also, again, it depends on what you're putting out there. That's why it's so important to not go into the store and look at a small sample, or go into a place that doesn't really know. I always say in this business, we don't just sell you a product, we actually have to educate as well. Because there are certain products you don't want to put outside. Like quartz, for instance, is a man-made. There's a pigment added for color. Quartz in itself is usually clear. So, and then you have the color of sand. So what they need is the pigment. So if you put quartz outside, and it's especially if it's in direct sunlight, it'll fade over time. So quartz is not a good idea to put outside. Another thing, granite's probably your best thing to put outside. But even then, you want to put a tight grain granite out there. Now, if we lived in Florida, where we don't get ice and snow and cold weather, you could put any stone outside. But because we live in a cold weather climate, if you put a granite in it that has a lot of mica in it or stuff because the mica tends to make it look like it has fissures, what happens is the water gets into the mica, and then when it freezes, it expands. And then the surface of the stone will get a little pitted. And that's not what you want. So you want a tight grain material that doesn't have that. Now, if you have it covered, then you can get away with it. I still tell people to cover it because you still want to keep that moisture out, because you could cover it, but it's not going to keep it from getting cold.
Right. So
I always recommend a tight grain granite for exterior. The new thing is, like you see, we do a lot of the leather finish. And to me, a leather finish granite is ideal for outside. It matches the concrete block. And as far as maintenance, I mean, it doesn't show like, when you're like now we have the pollen and stuff like that, you're constantly going to be wiping off a polished surface. The leather, you don't even see it.
Yeah.
It doesn't show any fingerprints. It's as maintenance free as you can get.
Right.
And it looks good outside. So a tight grain granite is the way to go exterior wise. Quartz, completely stay away from. Marble, again, it's still a natural stone, but a marble in direct sunlight will fade a little bit. Not as much as a quartz, but will fade a little bit. Granite will not.
Okay, so this is kind of like a little bonus question. I'm just curious here.
Okay.
What is a tight grain granite then? Is it have to do with the color of it, or does it have to do with
What tight grain means, it's usually like the level 1, level 2s. Sometimes level 3. You're just looking. You don't want to see that mica in it. Those big crystals?
Yeah.
Anything you see a big crystal are the ones that have the big lightning bolt type veining. The tight grain material, the more consistent materials tend to be more tight grain. Like the steel gray, Santa Cecilia, Ubatuba, butterfly. Those, there's not really a lot of variation. It's the movement and variation because it has more different minerals in the stone, which gives you all that exotic looking stuff, but it also makes the stone a little bit weaker than a tight grain material would be.
Okay, that makes sense. That's pretty cool to know too, that the movement comes from the different type of minerals and whatnot in there.
Absolutely.
That makes sense as to why it's all over the place.
And that's why sometimes you can see in the stone, if it has a big piece of quartz in it, if you were to put a light behind it, where that quartz is, it would shine right through the quartz. You see even some of the like the shadow storm or the elegant white, some of the quartzites. When we move it around, you hit where the sun is, you can see it shine right through.
Yeah.
So it's to me, I mean, I could talk about stone all day. I mean, there's always something that you saw or didn't see, or there's even if it's the same stone, maybe a different block you'll have something different about it. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of variation. There's still so many stones to this day that I'm seeing that I've never seen before.
Yeah, I've been around a long time, and I see stones now that I've never seen before.
It's wild. It really is. Well, those are all the questions that I have for you today.
Cool.
Thank you for answering our questions once again.
My pleasure.
This is what, like the 37th time?
37.
37th episode, but that's like double questions.
Exactly.
Plus
and one
the
time
bonus.
we had a couple bonus questions in there.
Yep. So
That's a lot of questions.
I'll keep in mind when we hit the 100th question.
Keep the questions coming.
Then I did want to remind you guys that our giveaway does end this week. It ends tomorrow, May 4th, and we will then be picking the winner on May 6th. So stay tuned this Friday to find out who is going to win the free vanity or island top. That's all we have for you guys today. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Ask Tony Tuesday. We will see you guys next week with another episode, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. See you later.
Soft light. If my voice holds out, I am ready.
figured it out.